Hey, what is going on? What is going on? I am so excited to do this live on YouTube. I want you guys to bear with me because I am not typically on YouTube. And so your girl is like working all her own gadgets herself, which I'm very proud of myself because I want to share this publicly for the very first time. Me talking in regards to the mortgages and different things like that that's taking place. And I really believe that it's extremely important for you guys to know what's going on so you can know how to just number one, make an educated decision. Number two, you can be able to tell someone else. And number three, knowledge is the new money. So if you do not have the right knowledge, you don't have the right tools, you don't have the right resources, people can take advantage of you. So what this live is meant to do is to share with you guys how President Donald Trump 50-year mortgage plan can benefit you and how it may could hinder you. So do me a favor, share this live right now with three people that you would love to have on here with you, that you want to maybe one day invest with, you want to have as a business partner, whatever the case may be. Share it with three people. I want to be able to bless as many people as I possibly can. I'm gonna go a little deep tonight, so make sure you have your pens and paper because I want you guys to understand 1000% when you get off of this live, what does it mean for you? Now, if you are a real estate investor, you're a real estate buyer, you're looking to buy your first property, and or if you're a homeowner, what does that mean for you with the market and the different things that's going to be taking place? So I'm going to be able to answer all of that. So in the chat right now, drop in the comments, would you take a 50-year mortgage if it meant a smaller payment? Just drop yes or no in the chat right now. Would you take a 50-year mortgage if it meant a smaller payment? I'm telling y'all, this is probably going to be one of the best lives on the 50-year mortgage payment that is coming from someone who has gotten it out the mud, but also has come from someone who's in a different position than what I was originally before I got started in real estate. And so been extremely blessed. For those of you who don't know, my name is Terica Lynn Smith. I've been doing real estate now for about 21 years. I'm a real estate developer. I'm a real estate investor. I do all things real estate and I absolutely love it. And one of my most favorite things to do is to educate the next on what is coming up. So would you take it? Y'all saying no, y'all saying no. Okay, I see you guys in the chat. All right. So let's talk about it, right? Something that sounds good, but may not necessarily be good, right? Um, let's just say, oh wow, for now. Okay. So something that may seem good, it sound good, but how many of you know it may not necessarily be good? Or it may be, you ever heard that saying, if it sounds too good to be true, maybe it's not true. Well, I actually found some things that sounded really, really good and they were true. But in this instance, I'm gonna let you guys be the judge of it because what I don't want to do is make a financial decision for you. I want to give you the information and then you make that decision, right? So President Trump is pushing a 50-year plan, 50-year, a half of a century to pay off one house. He's offering a 50-year plan, a half of a century to pay off one house. Now, before we get into anything, I just want to put a disclaimer. This is not about red. This is not about blue. This is not about white. I honestly could care less what color you are. I am not the person who's going to tell you your political rights or anything like that. This is about money. It's about math and how it affects you. That's what this is about, right? So before we start with any type of hate or love or whatever you're going to give, just know it's about money, it's about math, and it's about how it affects you. That's how we're going to keep this whole entire life. Now, before we even get into that, okay, I want you guys to make sure you have your pen and paper and make sure that you take notes. So, what President Trump is calling it is he's making homes more affordable. But who are these homes really affordable for? To me, would be the question. Because if you're not careful, this could be one of the biggest wealth transfers from everyday people to banks like we've never seen before. This could be the biggest wealth transfer in history. I need y'all in history. This could be the biggest wealth transfer in history. You see, it sounds like a blessing right now. Lower monthly payments, easier to qualify. But behind the scenes, what's the long term play? Like, what's really going on? Does it keep you in debt longer? Let's think about that. 50 years, right? The current is 30. So I would say yes, it would keep you in debt longer. But what keeps you in debt longer makes the banks richer. So wait, I'm saving money though. So why does that matter if the banks are getting richer? I want to break this all down. It matters. Somebody put it matters in the chat. It matters. The reason why this matters is because I'm just going to give you the numbers and then you tell me if it matters. That's what I want to do. I would tell you the numbers and then you're going to have to tell me if it matters. All right. I want you to understand that the reason why the banks create this is because they know you can't beat them at their own game. They've been in the business of doing this for a while. So let's break down what this is so you can clearly understand what's going on. When people hear a 50-year mortgage, they think it's something brand new. But really, this is not brand new. It's an old system dressed up in new clothing. It's dressed up to look like help for you. But it's the old system. The idea is simple. Stretch your loan from 30 to 50 years, and boom, your monthly payment drops. Sounds like a win. But that lower payment doesn't mean you're saving money. It just means you're paying the bank for 20 extra years. 20 extra years. Like, I can't make this up. How does this play out? 20 extra years. So let's just do math, okay? Because I said it's about math, right? It's about money, it's about math, and it's about how it affects you. So let's just do some math, okay? I ran the numbers. I have my numbers here, right? A lower monthly payment, they'll promise you that. But this is what the cost, this is at the cost of what it's going to be for you, okay? So on a $400,000 home at 6.5% interest rate with 5% down, a 30-year mortgage is $2,401.06. A 50-year mortgage is $2,142.12 a month. So you save about $259 to $260. But you're paying that for 20 more years. You're paying $260 for 20 more years. Like you're paying $260 for 20 more years. So here's the truth. You're going to pay a ton of interest. I mean a ton. When I say they're going to give you a haircut, you're going to be one bald head human walking around. Hey, I'm not here to make your decision. I'm just here to give you the information. But you're going to be bald head. You're going to have a haircut, okay? At 30 years currently, you pay about 56.1% interest and 43.9% principal. For those of you who don't know, interest is how the bank make money. So your principal is what you actually negotiate the sales price to be, minus your down payment is what you finance at the bank, okay? So for instance, whenever I did the math on this, I did it at 400,000, 6.5% interest rate with 5% down. So if you put in 5% down, that means if you put in 5% of the $400,000 down, that means that you're going to put down you're going to have the bank finance $380,000. That $380,000 is your principal. So on a traditional 30-year, okay, on a traditional 30-year, 400, $840,669 is interest only. That's current. This is not with the president's new plan. This is a 30 years, about 56% of your payments goes towards interest, and the other 43.9% goes towards principal. So on a 30-year, okay, the total interest, $484,000, 669. The principal, which is what you initially borrowed, okay, is $380,000. So that gives you a total payback of about 864,000 with principal and interest. The principal is the 380, the interest is the 484. So you add those two together, you get about $864,000 that you have to pay back to the bank once you finish your 30 years. That's what it looks like at 30 years. Oh, but it gets even better. Gets even better. Okay. Somebody say 50 years. I just gave y'all 30 years. Now it's 50 years. Okay. 50 years. Your interest on that same $380,000, that $400,000 deal that we talked about, for 50 years, your total interest is $905,000, $1 million in interest on $400,000. It does not include the principal. 905,274,000. The principal is $380,000. So when you put the principal and the interest together, oh my God, this is wild. This is so wild. When you put the principal and interest together, y'all ready for this number? It's $1,285,274. 70.4% goes towards interest on your 50-year loan, and 29.60 goes towards your principal. What? So I get the instant gratification of my mortgage is cheaper by $260. But is it really $260 a month if you got 20 more years added to it? So that's about $420,604.94 extra going to the bank. 420,000 extra dollars. So yeah, your monthly payment dropped, but the bank just locked in 2 extra decades of guaranteed profits from you. The bank just locked in 2 extra decades of payments from you. Guess what else happens? Your equity builds slower. You're paying mostly interest for decades before really owning your home. You're paying mostly interest for decades before really owning your home. You can't beat the bank at their own game. Not this one. It is just I'm telling you guys, they just dressed it up different. They added 50 years. They know that you guys, they're banking on your indecisiveness. Yes. They're banking on it. They're banking on you with your instant gratification needs. They're banking on you to want that $260 now discount. More, they're banking on you to want that $260 a month discount. That's what they're banking on. The bank designed these products for them to win, not you. That's the truth. They don't do this for you. The longer you're paying, the longer they collect interest. That's the God honest truth. You might feel like you're winning because your payment fits your budget, but you're not building wealth faster. You're just renting money longer. You're just renting money longer. That's what you're doing right now. And you're feeding the system that profits off your patience. You're feeding the system that profits off of your patience. So, an example, if you buy a $400,000 home on a 50-year loan, after 10 years, you still owe around $364,000. After 10 years, after 10 years, you buy a home for 400,000. You put that 5% down payment. In 10 years, you only at 364 with the new 50-year home plan. You've barely made a dent in your mortgage payment. You you barely even scratched it, to be honest with you. That's wild. It's wild. Meanwhile, the bank already collected over $250,000 in interest payments, most of it being interest. Over $250,000 of payments you made, and 79.1% of it is about interest. Wowzer. Hot diggity dog. This is expensive. Are you guys learning? Put learning in the chat. Let me know we cooking. Let me know we cooking. So for a home buyer, I probably would think twice before I do a 50-year. 30 years is long enough. And the ratio on that is still upside down. You're still going to pay more interest than you would principal. But it ain't as worse as a 50-year. It's definitely not worse than a 50-year. So let's talk investments, right? Investors, let's go. So it's more buyers, more demand, higher home prices. Real estate investors and sellers, we benefit from the short term. But investors who's holding rental property, you need to be on the watch out for inflation and prices without matching rent growth. Holding rental properties, be careful because of inflation. The inflation in the prices without the matching rent growth is very dangerous. Very dangerous. This also could create a false affordability bubble. Short term gains, long term instability. Short term gains, long term instability. So, for an investor, some of you that like to do those subject to deals, I think that's kind of more along the lines of where you guys would be. And so for those of you who do not know, a subject to investor, what they do is they approach a seller who is delinquent in their payments, and they say, hey, let us take over your note for you. They probably give them a small amount of money down, and they take over the payments for years, okay, for the next 50 years in this case, okay. Well, what happens to the subject to investors is they done taken over a note where equity is building slow. So they're basically counting on the rent that they're going to charge for that subject to property to be able to be rented out. But if you're not careful, inflation can mess with the rent growth and rent may slow down. So if your rent decreases and you have this 50-year mortgage and now you're break even on your subject to because you can't get more rent than what the market is allowing, that market share, now you're in a bad situation. Now, with a subject to, you got to be very careful that the accelerator clause don't activate, which means that if a mortgage company finds out that you have transferred title to a property, they can call your loan to be due in full. Okay. Now, does it happen? I'm sure it does, but it don't happen a lot. So that's why subject to is a very popular thing for that's why it's a very popular thing for investors who don't have money but just want to take over payments to be able to get started in and do. So, this kind of policy might pump up the housing market short term, okay, very short term, but it doesn't fix affordability. When you go back to the beginning of what President Trump said, he said that he's going to deal with the housing crisis to make it more affordable. But how is this more affordable if their interest on the property that they're paying is going up 20 to 30% before they can even see anything? It's insane. It's not the truth, it's a lie. You cannot lie to the American people and put all of this lingo in your big text code books and in your legislators and with all your other people. You can't keep lying to the American people, putting you in the worst position that you ever been in. Do you know how discouraging it is for somebody to take their hard-earned money, their hard earned money? I'm talking the working class. I'm not talking this billionaire game that people play. I'm not even talking about the game that I play with Monopoly in real life. I'm talking about those who have to work every single day to keep a roof over their head. Their job matters, their income matters, and you're going to put them in a 50-year loan, a half of a century, and make them think you're doing good. I think is horrible. I think it's horrible. I don't agree with it. That is not going to create affordability. This is my opinion. This is Terica Lynn Smith opinion. It's look. It may be unpopular and it may be popular. I don't know. What I do know is math, and the math is not mathing right here. It's very suspect. You see, what they do is they go and create all of this stuff and they present it to you as if they're doing you a favor. And because you don't know no better, you don't know that knowledge is the new money, you don't go and self educate yourself. If this video does anything for anyone, I pray that it help you make an educated decision on deciding between a 20, a 25, a 30, and a 50-year loan. That's what I'm praying that this do. Because they are banking on you to make a short-term decision. They're banking on you. It does not fix affordability. All it does is it stretches the debt. That's what it does. It stretches the debt. That's it. So let's keep going. So, what are the risks and the trade offs, right? So, slower equity equals longer path to ownership. Now, in my opinion, you guys said that you wanted ownership. Put ownership in the chat. You can't say you want ownership when somebody got you in debt for 50 years. And you know what they're going to do after year 20? They're going to offer you a low interest rate and you're going to buy the same thing again. Y'all, we gotta stop. We gotta break this cycle of poverty thinking. We gotta break this generational curse that continues to try to keep us as the tail when we know we are the head. Like we gotta do better. Like we gotta do better. There is no point in time that I am trusting the federal government, the federal government to have the best interest of Terrica Lynn Smith. It's not going to happen. I don't believe it. I don't trust it. Um, and quite frankly, I think that this is one of the most horrible plans I've ever heard of, to be honest with you. I mean, somebody else can prove me wrong, but I can't unsee the math. So unless you got a magic calculator and your girl don't know how to count, there ain't nothing nobody can do to change my mind on this. Period. So, more total interest equals lifetime wealth drain. 50 years. You're committing to half a century. Risk of overpaying if home prices start going down. So because the market is going to be hot, because guess what? Buyers, everybody's not going to watch this. Everybody's not going to watch this live, right? So there's no way we can touch the United States right now with this live. So what happens is most people are going to go off of their own mindset and say, you know what? I think that 50 years, I'm saving $260 a month. I'm gonna be able to refinance. They have no clue what they're talking about. They blowing smoke and they're gonna take the bait. No matter, I'm doing this in advance before he even signed it, before it's even in play. I'm doing this live in advance to tell you to be warned. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to tell you to be warned. Okay. If you lose your job, your long-term mortgage doesn't care about you. You're still locked in for decades and decades and decades. You're trading short term comfort for long term control. You're trading your short term comfort for a long term control. You mean to tell me you want the banks to control you for another 20 years just for your instant comfort of $260? Do you know how many different ways you can do to make $260? Your short-term comfort for your long-term gain. To me, that's not how you build wealth. It's not. I don't agree with it. I don't I don't have to agree with it, but I don't agree with it. That is not how you build wealth. It goes against everything I teach you guys on being real estate investors. Like, do me a favor, drop a house in the chat right now if you think that this sounds shady. Like, if you think that this 50-year plan is shady, drop a house in the chat right now. At the end of the day, the 50-year mortgage sounds like it's helping you, but it's really helping the banks. It's not really helping you. You'll pay less per month, yes, but more over your lifetime. So you'll pay less per month, but you'll pay more over a lifetime. You'll build equity slower and you'll stay in debt longer. So before you celebrate smaller payments, ask yourself who's really winning. Ask yourself who's really winning. Because, like I started off in the beginning, you cannot beat the bank at their own game unless you learn how the game is played. That's how you beat the bank at their own game, when you learn how to play it. So let's talk about what would I do, right? Like, T, what would you do? Like, this right here is like like I'm in a situation where I got this property and, well, I want to buy a property and, they're telling me the mortgage payments, would be X amount at 30 years and X amount at 50 years. Okay. So let's just say 1,000 for 30 years and 1,260 for 50 years. Okay. And that thousand, well, it'll be 1,000 for 50 years, and 12,600, it'll be 1,200 for the 30 years, correction. So for 30 years it's at 1,200, and 50 years is at 1,000. We'll just do round math like that. It's 260 and some change, but do round math. What would I do in that situation? I would negotiate the sales price. I would not want to bake that in for 2 more decades. There's no way I would want to pay $200 less by adding 2 decades. I would negotiate those decades in my contract, or I would find a different property. Some of us have to understand, like when I first got my first property, y'all, it was not my dream home. I promise you, it was not my dream home. Like literally, they had 9 foot ceilings. Okay. So our very first property that we owned, not our investment property, our personal residence, it was a 3 bedroom, 2 bath. It was a repo property. It was like $100,000. I knew that I needed to put 60,000 into the property to fix it up, and I was going to live there for 2 years. So me and my husband didn't have to pay capital gains taxes. So we had a very good strategy in place, right? So we did a 30-year loan. Our payments were about if I remember, maybe $1,100, $1,200 a month. It was perfect for us. What we did was when we fixed up the property, because it was a repo, we knew we would be able to sell it for about $230,000 to $240,000. So after 2 years, I waited my 2 years in that house that I did not like, I did not love, but it was a part of the end game. So I knew that if I can sacrifice for these first 2 years in a house that I don't necessarily love, if I can sacrifice in this house that got these low ceilings, if I can sacrifice in this house where I need another bedroom for my children, if I can sacrifice in this house just for 2 years, I've went through harder times than this. So you mean to tell me a housing situation I just need to sacrifice for a few years to be able to get ahead? So I did. Me and my family, we did. Me and my husband, we sacrificed. We stayed in that little huddle, that house for 2 years. We put it on the market. I sold it. We had about $80,000 in profit once we sold it. I took 60 of that 80,000 and I went and bought a piece of land to build my dream home. So I was willing to take the sacrifice. I was willing to take, the property that was not my favorite. It wasn't the best. I was not interested in, getting a longer financial term or anything like that. I had a clear strategy. So because we had that clear strategy, we was able to go and build another home, our dream home, where it was absolutely beautiful, right? I brought in ironwork from New Orleans. I brought in all kind of building materials from New Orleans because I wanted it to have like that St. Charles feel when you walk inside. Like we had fleur de lis all over the place, like absolutely beautiful, beautiful New Orleans property. Okay, in a whole nother city that's not New Orleans. And we built that property, but guess what? That wasn't the end game. I knew that I wanted a swimming pool. I knew that my husband wanted a workshop. I knew that I wanted property that was on the lake so we can go fishing, on the river so we can go fishing. So I knew that I still had more desires, but for the past uh 10 years, that property fulfilled all of our needs. So I stayed in that property for 10 years. I built that house at $100 a square foot. I sold that property and made double what I built for it. So if I built it for 300,000 and I sold it for 640,000, how much equity did I make? You see, there's a strategy to beat the bank at their own game. You just got to learn how to get in the game and know that this is a contact sport, right? Like understand that you don't just learn these strategies and these plays by staying on the outside. You learn these strategies and plays by one, getting great mentorship, two, just having conversations. Y'all got chat gpt at the drop of your hand. All you got to do is type in your questions. Like if there's something you're confused about, Like all of that, including this. Hey, Coach T just did a live on YouTube and she explained to us the 50-year mortgage. Can you break down, Chat GPT, more risk, more concerns, things I should be aware of? Like, we have the information at our fingertips. We have the information right in our hands where we're able to be able to access the information and get the answers that we need immediately. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be making the best educated decisions. So when I sold my house and I made 340 some thousand dollars in profit, guess what I did? I redid the exact same play. You see, you don't have to be caught up in this instant gratification cycle that the banks want to try to get you caught up in. You literally can step aside and be an oddball, like myself. I'm very odd. I don't do the things that everybody else on the internet does. I don't, I really do real estate in real life. I understand the formulas, I understand the strategies, I understand how to scale. I understand how to exit, right? And so because I know when I first buy a property, I start with my exit plan. When you first buy your real estate investment property and or your primary residence, what is the exit plan? So when you think about what I just explained to you in regards to my path with my first house, my exit plan was to use that first house to build my dream home. So then when I got and built my dream home and I realized I didn't have everything I wanted in there in the beginning, the exit was to go and buy a home that had everything that I want. My home that I bought almost 2 years ago now, I negotiated on that property for over a year. Some of you get burnt out after 4 or 5 days of negotiating with the sellers. I negotiated for a year, an entire year. Why? Because I was not willing to trade my children legacy for instant comfort. My long term decision, my long term strategy had to work or I would not buy the property. So because you can um you can make, if you're single, 250,000, married, I believe it's a half a million on the profit of a sale of your primary residence and not have to pay capital gain taxes. That's why it was important that it was our primary residence. So I say all of that to say that when I'm acquiring property, I'm not just acquiring because, oh, it's good. I'm acquiring because I have an exit plan. I have a strategy in place. I have the mindset of where this investment is going to head, and I know exactly what I'm going to do with it next. So I want you guys to take this time, right, and ask yourself the question: why would the federal government wrap up a 50-year mortgage payment in a box and present it to you as if it was a present? As if it was a present. Imagine opening that box and it has a scorpion in there. And that scorpion reaches out and as soon as you open the box, got you. You paralyzed. Ain't nothing you can do because you think that in this decision and in this moment, this might be the only chance and opportunity you have to be able to have home ownership. Let me tell you something. The devil is a lie and ain't no truth in that. I'm telling you right now, do not go put yourself in a financial situation and start crying out to God, asking Him to save you. That makes no sense. Sometimes it's not the devil, it's our own self. Okay. I had to learn that about Terica. Sometimes it's not the devil, it's just me. I made some dumb decisions in life. I really just made some dumb decisions in life. And these are the consequences, right? You play silly games, you get silly prizes. And that's what they're trying to do to you right now. So for everybody you know that's about to get ready to start buying. Because let me tell you something. When he signed this paper, before the ink is dry, mark my words, you about to see the greatest wealth exchange in history if we don't get this word out. Do not sign a 50-year loan. That is me. I will not be signing a 50-year loan. I don't care how sweet the deal is. I am not doing it. Now, I will tell you guys this. We have some properties, we have some HAP properties, and we signed a 20-year contract with them. We have no debt on this property. Well, maybe it's not a lot of debt. It's like the property is worth like 5 million, and we probably got $200,000 worth of debt. It's not much. It's nothing, to be honest with you. And and we got this 20-year contract, right? And with this 20-year contract, there's 3% inflation built in there. So it is such a sweet contract. I mean, government contracts are the best with your investment properties, and I'm speaking solely on your investment properties, but they also have loans, which a lot of people I have seen signed up for, and they don't control you with the loan with the interest, because I'll give you guys an example of how one goes. So they was trying to offer us 100% financing with a 2% interest rate for 100 years. Can't make it up. 2% interest rate for 100 years. Now, in investments, you have different exits, okay? This is obviously not a property that we're going to want to exit. We're going to want to pass these HAP contracts down to our children. So where they control you at, it's not with the interest, because if you think about it, it's 2%. That's a very low interest rate, right? Where they control you at is the requirements to have that loan. So they require you to have a certain amount in reserves, okay? And it's typically like anywhere from 10 to 20% of reserves for the actual property. Then on top of that, you cannot sell that property to anybody else unless they are USDA approved, which means that now you're the seller of a property, you're the owner of it, but you have no power in controlling who you can sell to, because they have to be USDA approved. So when you sign that paper, you may be making money hand over fist every single month, 2% interest. You got 60 grand coming in a month, $60,000 a month you make on this property. You keep a majority of it, but there's a catch. And there's always a catch. So for me, I didn't sign it. We didn't sign that, because if we would have taken on that, we would have not been in full ownership anymore. And when I think of full ownership, I want full ownership. I don't want partial. I don't want no partial ownership. I want full ownership. That means I do not want the federal government telling me who I can sell my property to and what I have to do with my properties in regards to reserves and different things like that. So when you get a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, whatever type of government backed loan you get, just know it comes with consequences. It comes with restrictions. It comes with these holds that they have on you, where now they feel like they can control you. That's what this comes with. So because I know that, I politely decline. No, thank you. We're not interested in that. If you're going to build $100 million real estate portfolio, you're going to have to say no early on. And your first no that you can say no to is what's in front of you, what's been presented to you right now. I know some of you on here are going to be looking at being homeowners. Say no now. Say no to 50 years. 30 years, look, it's still that, but at least it ain't 50 years, okay? If you can do a 15-year loan, do a 15-year loan. Like the Lord alone, right? Like 15 years compared to 30 years is a huge difference. Did you know if you make an extra mortgage payment every single month, you knock off 7.5 years on your loan? So they don't tell you those type of tricks and trades because they don't want you to pay it off early. They got some banks that penalizes you with what's called a prepayment penalty. So yeah, I'll let you get out of this deal. Yes, I'll allow you to sell it, but you're going to have a prepayment penalty because you're paying me off early. Wait, so I get penalized for paying off a loan early? Are you kidding me? Like, how does that even make sense that I get penalized for paying off a loan early? But that's what takes place. So because we know that's what takes place, guess what happens, guys? No, thank you. I don't want your money. If it comes with discount points, which is fees that the lender charges you to be able to buy the property, if it comes with prepayment penalties, which means I'm going to penalize you for paying me off early, if it comes with restrictions of who and what I can say and sell this property to, guess what? I'm good. I'm good. Most of our portfolio is debt free, right? Me, other investors within my community, partnerships. I've been doing this for a very long time. We've paid out a lot of dividends to a lot of different real estate investors and partners. We've taken some L's on real estate deals. That's just the nature of the game. We get some. We've had some lessons in the past where and one of the other things is in regards to partnerships, right? Like I'm telling you about the federal government, but also your cousin and your uncle and your grandma and your auntie and your niece and your sister and your brothers and all of your cousins and all of them, right? Like I am very cautious on what I sign and who I sign it with. I'm very cautious on what I sign and who I sign it with. No, I don't want to be your partner. I'm sorry. No, I don't think I'm better than you. I just don't think that you are the appropriate partner for me. Because when I notice a partner has instant gratification and I'm delayed gratification, mean I'll take everything that I need to do to scale to get to the gratification, but I don't need it right now. And you one who needs it, we're probably not going to work out well together. We probably won't work out well together. So knowing that that is the case, right? I've learned to say no to people even when I don't want to hurt their feelings, but I still have to tell them no. Because what I don't want to do is regret not hurting their feelings, give them a yes, and now it costs us financially. So, with that being said, I pay attention to what I sign. I pay attention to the partnerships and who I will partner with. And no, I'm not gonna just do it to just have anything, right? So do me a favor. If this broke something, right, down on the inside of you, do me a favor. Share this live. Tag someone. I'm not here to sell you guys anything. I just want to give you free game. If you guys like this, I'm gonna come on once a week and I just want to give you guys some nuggets. I want to share with you guys kind of like the behind the scenes stuff of a lot of things that's taking place. One of the other things I said I was going to talk about, which is the SNAP benefits, and I'm going to get to that. And I'll tell you guys what I truly feel about the SNAP benefits and about the government being shut down. And hopefully they should be back up, being that the Senate has agreed on some things. So it shouldn't be that long. Um, but let me give you my perspective on the government feeding me. Can I just do that? If I can do that, put yes in the chat. I'll give you guys this last one about the government shutdown with SNAP, and then I'll end it there. Perfect. So I am not one that is opposed to nobody getting SNAP. Let me start there. Before um, Hurricane Katrina, I was on every single government assistance program you possibly can think of. I was on welfare. I was on Section 8. I had Medicaid. I had SNAP. I had welfare. Yo, I had all of it. Okay. Like I mean, I had the WIC vouchers. I mean, that's what we did. We took all the benefits they gave us in New Orleans. It wasn't it like it just what that's just what it was, right? And so Hurricane Katrina come, and I'll never forget this, y'all. I'll never forget this. Hurricane Katrina come, and I had like maybe $400 or $500 worth of food stamps on my card. And I remember us going to the store, and um the food stamp card did not work. And I kept on trying to use it, and it kept being declined. For me, that was my moment of I don't want to have to rely on the government. During Hurricane Katrina, they pressed one button and shut all the food stamps down. Nobody had food stamps. Nobody had gas. All the gas stations was out of gas. Nobody had water because all the water was shut off. The city was flooding. It was one of the worst situations I've ever been in my entire life. And I said, God, if you get me out of here, I will not make mammon my God anymore. I will not do it. I will not bow to a lowercase God. I didn't even know I was doing that, y'all. Like I didn't even know that I had idols. Like I did not know that. I just thought I was gonna die. To be honest, I thought we was gonna die. And I heard that our mayor at the time, who was Ray Nagin, I heard that the mayor had left. He flew out, and all the other city councils, all these different people, they were out the city, y'all, and they left us. And so we ended up being trapped in the city, and it took us 3 days to escape. We lost family. It was a very devastating time. But I remember babies crying because they had no formula. I remember mamas crying because they couldn't feed their children. And if I had to describe the scene, if I had to describe the scene, I felt like it was the rapture. Like kind of like what the Bible describes. Like, if you're stuck here, you're gonna see all the pain, the suffering, and hell on earth and all. Like I literally felt like that's what it was. And I remember crying because my two children, at the time I was 19 years old and I had two kids. And I started crying because I knew that my children were crying because they were hungry and I could not feed them. Like nothing worked. I had no money. I had no desire to want to have to get any money. They made it very easy to get welfare and food stamps, right? So, there was no like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason why New Orleans is 60% of poverty. It's because they make it easy and convenient. And I didn't know that until I needed to use the card and it did not work. And I made a vow there. I said, God, if you get me out of here, if I live and my children live, God, I'll never, never rely on the federal government to take care of me again in life. In life. And that's what I did. After Hurricane Katrina, I went to real estate school and I put my money where my mouth was. And I did exactly what I said I was going to do. So when I think about the people that are going through this tough time right now, I truly sympathize with them. But if there's any advice that I can get you, not this is not for those who are not able. This is for those who are able to work like I was. 19 years old, two kids, that does not cripple you. That does not paralyze you. You can do whatever you want if you just get up and believe and say, dog it, I've had enough, right? This is not for the elderly that needs this assistance. This is not for, the parents that are fostering it. This is for those who are able to get up and operate. Everything work on you. Everything functions. Your body function. You got all your five senses. You're able to go out there and do something. Like it's so easy to make money in this generation than it was during Hurricane Katrina. There should be no excuse. And so I don't have sympathy for those who were like me, because unfortunately I know that I was riding the system, and then I would sell food stamps to go buy other stuff. And so I literally was breaking the law and doing all of these things when I was getting it. And so for me, I don't believe that everybody that's on the program needs it. But for those of that who do need SNAP, right? Let's talk about that. Not the ones who's just abusing the program, because and we all know somebody in our family who's abusing the program. We just know those people, okay? When they give us those benefits, they bank on us going to get processed food that causes us to get cancer, that causes us to get diabetes, and it causes us to die. So they place the cancer inside the food so we can go get the treatment for the cancer so we can end back up in their cycle. It's a whole entire process. It's a whole entire process. I'm not making it up. You don't believe me? Just go do your own research on everything, right? They put sugar, processed sugar in everything, right? So sugar can turn into cancer, sugar can turn into diabetes, sugar can turn into Alzheimer's, sugar can turn into dementia, sugar can turn into aging and wrinkling, sugar can cause ADHD. Like, sugar can literally destroy everything on the inside of you. Sugar can cause cavities. That's where cavities come from. Sugar in your teeth is called cavities. So it's like, knowing that there's people who really need this, and those are the ones that my heart goes out to. And those are the ones, like, God, what can we do to help them? Like, how can we give to more food banks? How can we donate? Like, would my donation be enough? Would it be efficient enough to be able to feed 100 families that really, really need it? Those are the ones that I'm concerned about. And honestly, I think that it's our responsibility to take care of that generation that came before us, especially if you have the means. That's one of our commandments, is to take care of those that are less fortunate. And for me, that's front of mind. I'm always thinking about those type of things, like even the foster care children. Just because I was a foster care child, I was one who wants to make sure foster care children can go to Disney and have all of these type of experiences that they wouldn't naturally have, right? So I say all that to say that, the federal government plays with the middle class and and I would just say the poverty driven class. Right after middle class, they call it poverty. They play with us like a violin in regards to saying what they're going to do for us, when they're going to do for us. Do you know that the people who shut the government down, they still got paid? While they're taking food out of people's mouth who needs it, they still got paid. They got paid for their indecisiveness. They got paid for not being able to make a decision. They got paid for that. They got paid for that. Why these people starve. That is something else I'll talk about on a whole nother day. But for time's sake, I've kept you guys here quite some time, and I don't want to keep you guys longer than I should. But I want you guys to really think about that, right? Like, if you have not subscribed to our channel, subscribe to my channel. I also have a podcast channel, which is called the Property Challenge podcast. So if you type that into the search, it'll pull up. Go subscribe. Every Saturday, I drop a new episode. I'm teaching new game. I'm giving you guys new tools. I'm giving you guys new resources. I'm giving you guys new information, right? Here, make sure you click subscribe and share this with 3 people if it blessed you. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for having me. Share this information. Let people know, hey, 50-year mortgage, we don't know about that. When you drop them facts, like I did with the math, when the math ain't math, then it ain't right. So we just, we stand in our ground. Okay. We educated investors. We smart investors. What's good in the circle? What's good, protege? Drop some fire in the chat if you in the community. Shout out to our protege community. I'll add a link here. I have one of my team members drop a link here to be able, you guys, you like this information. We have a monthly community, no pressure. You can join if you want, cancel anytime. It's free to cancel. And so we have a community where we talk about real estate. We talk about stuff like this. In fact, tomorrow we're going to be, Wednesday, we're going to be talking about more real estate stuff. So it's going to be absolutely fire. But I love you guys. I love you. I love you. Love you. See you guys later. Let's go.